Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Sabbath. I am certainly excited, despite the circumstance, despite the challenge. I am excited to be in your midst once again. And I do bring greetings in the mighty name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and trust that despite whatever challenges you face this week, that He would have given you the grace to overcome it. But why I'm also particularly excited is because I get to speak on a topic that I love so much. Yeah. You don't know? No, no, this is not for you. This is not for you. I get to speak about marriage. So that's why I said it's not for you. Just kidding, just kidding. Nobody's excluded from being married, right? Your time is coming, right? This time is coming. But I love marriage, brethren. I love marriage. I love my marriage. I love my marriage. And I love it so much I'll do it again. To the same woman. Yeah, I have to clarify. Over and over and over. I love my marriage. I really and truly love my marriage. And I hope my wife loves it too. Because, self-praise is no recommendation. So you'll have to hear from her if she shares the same sentiment. But I can speak with confidence that she does, right? Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right. And I'm particularly excited to speak on a topic as my wife and I approach our 7th year this year. 7 years. Can I safely say the honeymoon phase is done? No? I can't say it yet? So how many more years I need to put in? A whole lot more. Oh, so just stay in the honeymoon phase. Stay in the honeymoon phase. All right. Because they said the honeymoon phase is about 2 years. And Bridget and I have a loud mouth. So anything that I feel passionate about, sometimes I speak about it passionately. And I can tell you, marriage is one of those areas where I spoke very passionately. And I got some very calm down kind of tone, especially from brethren in the church. They will tell you that, boy, you don't reach nowhere yet. Young bud no storm, right? Wait until you experience this or that or so on. And I can tell you, it was very discouraging. Very discouraging. And I am motivated though. I am motivated to prove you wrong. I am motivated to prove you wrong. Because based on those feedback or comments, when someone speaks so positively about marriage, you get the impression that persons sort of expect doom and gloom. You get the impression that persons almost automatically assume that once they go into the realm of marriage, then it's going to be some burden, something simply to endure. And you're just in the marriage surviving. And it's a fact that some marriages are just surviving. It's a fact that we can't ignore. But I want to be the exception. My marriage should be the exception. And I do encourage persons, and that's what the whole Palm Sabbath is about. Peace and love in marriage. To encourage married people to have peace in your marriage, to have love in your marriage, and to have unity and oneness. That's what it's about. Be the exception. Because we're in a world where marriage is failing. Right? Divorce rates are going up. And I hear even young people saying, me not get married. Because what? They're seeing their parents, they're seeing their relatives, their aunts and uncles, they're getting divorced and they're having, a terrible experience in marriage. And I want to be an example that you can have a God-centered, loving, fulfilling marriage. I want to be that example. And I think why I speak about it so passionately is because I feel like I'm doing well. I feel like I'm doing well. And I know that, I don't want to present myself or my union, my marriage. I think the last time I spoke about marriage, it's only me and Ricardo was saying that we're happy in our marriage. Right, Ricardo? You remember? You were sitting over this side. Just two of us. Two of us are just happy. We're the ones happy in our marriages. Just kidding. I know a lot more of you are happy in your marriage. I know. But, Virgin, why I'm so passionate about it? Because it's when two people come together, they're supposed to be better off. They're not supposed to be worse off. When you decide to commit your life to a person, the two of you must complete each other. And oftentimes we rush into marriage and we don't fully know the persons. We don't really know their pet peeves and so on. And so it's like a reality check. After a couple of years in marriage, it's like a reality check. Whoa, is this really the same person that I got married to? Is this the same person I've been dating for a couple of years now? Is it the same person that when we went to dinner, they pulled out my chair and ensured that, opened my door and so on and ensured that I had everything that I wanted? This romantic person. Have you ever been fooled? Is the woman alone answering? Men, it don't look good. It don't look good. But you see, during that dating phase, during the dating process, that stage, people tend to shine their most, the best. They put their best foot forward. And then when you get married now, you slack off. You slack off. And the things that you used to do, you're no longer doing them. So, when I hear these negative comments, when I hear these things about give yourself some more time, I ask myself, how much more time do I need to give? Because 7 years for me seems reasonable to say, I know my wife now, she knows me, and so on. So, how much more time do I need to give? 70. So guess what? 70. So they move it now. So it's no longer time that is the benchmark. It's wait until you have a child. Wait until you have children. I know, Wayne. I know you're one of them. I know you're one of them. I know. You see what I mean? Yes. You see what I mean? They raise the standard each time because there's this expectation that marriage cannot be good. Marriage has to be something that you're struggling in. Yes, man. Yes, man. Right? So you see, Brother Wayne says, wait until you have children. And then when you have children now, them say, wait until the pitney grow up. And them start back talk you. Then you're going to know if you have, and then the mother jump in when you're trying to correct the child and discipline and so on. And it's always something. Bridget, we have to dismantle that idea. We have to get rid of that idea that marriage cannot be good. And there has to be something to put some spoke, so throw something in your wheel to ensure that it doesn't work as it should. So it raises some very important questions. Why are so many of us conditioned to believe that we should just expect the worst from marriage? Why? Hollywood? How is it that we've become so familiar with marital struggle to the point where we have begun to manifest these same problems in our relationships and also in the relationships of others? Because, you see, if I listen to the person who said, wait until, I would have thought been dwelling on those negativity, and it's a possibility that I could have manifested these situations in my marriage. But today, being Palm Sabbath, peace and love in marriage, I would like to give you some practical tools, Brother Wayne. Brother Wayne, you don't want the tools? Oh, I can't use you. All right. You say I can't use him. Him already have the tools. But I want, hold on, Wayne, man. I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to give you the tools. And it's not just for the men in the congregation, for the women as well. Right? We're going to give you some tools, practical tools for a healthy marriage. Now, like I said, brethren, 7 years is not enough years to say I'm qualified to speak. I'm not a marriage counselor, right? I didn't do any studies in marriage or on marriage besides what I learned from the scripture. But I believe I have some tools, some sort of experience. And here's the thing. What I learned, you don't have to go through experiences to have the experience. Because you can learn from others. And a lot of who I am today is because of what I see, what I've observed, and what works and what does not work. So I'll share some personal testimonies later on. But I want to give you some practical tools for a healthy marriage. Do you know what a healthy marriage looks like? Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. That's very important, you know. You can't want to have a healthy marriage and you don't know what a healthy marriage looks like. You must know what a healthy marriage looks like, right? Does a healthy marriage have challenges? Oh, that one has. Huh? All right. Does a healthy marriage have quarrels between husband and wife? Okay. Does a healthy marriage have financial problems? Okay. So challenges don't make the marriage unhealthy. Okay. Okay, so conflict doesn't make a marriage unhealthy. Well, conflict by itself doesn't make the marriage unhealthy. It's how you deal with the conflict. And that's very important. Okay. So we all accept that there are challenges in marriage. All right, please, nobody not tell me that again. Okay. Please. We accept it as something already. So we accept it. So when I am here talking about our lovely marriages and so on, don't tell me to wait until. Challenges will come. Allow me to bask in my, I'll enjoy the moment. Thank you. Don't ruin it for me, man. Don't ruin it. Why are you ruining it for me? It's a warning. No, man, let me enjoy my moment. Let me enjoy the moment. Don't ruin it for me. But I mean, there's room. I agree. There's room and there's merit behind saying, be careful. There's room for it. But it can't be that it's the first thing that comes out of your mouth when somebody says, boy, I'm happy in my marriage. It can't be the first thing. Congratulate me first, man. Say, that's good. But, be careful of those things. Yeah. Yeah. So before I get into the practical tools, I want to take you marriage through the century. Look at how marriage has evolved over the years, starting in the mid-1900s. Early to mid-1900s, what do you expect? The husband is the one who leaves the house to go work. He's the breadwinner. He's the main provider. And the wife is the one who stays home, takes care of the children, makes sure homework is done, manages the household, and so on. Who would like to live in that era again? My wife put up her hand. You too. So you'd like to be the one to be at home, taking care of the children, and your husband is the one that goes, oh, you don't want to take care of the children anymore. All right. So the wives were expected to manage the household, raise the children, do the washing, the cooking, the cleaning, and so on. And the man is the one who comes home and says, this is the salary, you can basically spend the money to manage the household. Right? Huh? You see, no, she want help her. So she wants to have a helper. So she doesn't want a job, and she wants a helper, and she wants the money. That's a discussion for your husband in the 1900s. Single income households were common at that time because economically it was more affordable, it was manageable. So you didn't need two persons to be pulling in income. Women had less economic independence, and in some cases, I don't know if it's all, but in some cases, they could experience unhappiness in their marriage, and they would remain in the marriage because they don't have the status, they don't have anywhere to go. The man would have, been doing the investing, the earning, and so on, building up himself, and she would be there to support him and help him to achieve his goals. So at the end of the day, she wouldn't necessarily have anything for herself. And so what happened is that sometimes men find themselves in that position, could abuse the marriage. And they could, possibly, had their mistress or mistresses, and the wife would, essentially she couldn't complain because there's nowhere to go. Unfortunately. Fast forward to the mid 1960s to 1970s, there was greater educational and employment opportunities that women would have availed themselves of and afforded themselves. And so there was greater financial independence and greater equality, or fight or strive for equality from the women. So men are no longer the only ones bringing in the dough, the bread, the bacon, right? Not the bacon. No, not the bacon. But it's a term. Not the bacon. We don't deal with bacon. Cheese. The cheese. And there was more stability. But in certain circles, the narrative became or started to spread that a woman doesn't need a man to be financially fulfilled or to be fulfilled overall, right? So it started to happen because, and this would have happened because, the men would have been in positions of authority, would have abused their authority and so on. And when the women gained financial independence and economic stability, they, kind of released themselves from that bondage and started to spread certain narratives. Fast forward to the late 20th to 21st century, popular culture portraying family life start to portray family life differently. So you had television sitcoms that start to spread the narrative that men are stupid, incompetent, they are well-intentioned, but somehow the women were seen as the rock of the household, the one who brings stability and sense. The men were foolish. And you can watch these shows like, no, not Friends, but The Simpsons, Family Guy, where the Jeffersons, the men were idiots in a sense. Yeah, and the women were the ones who were sturdy and brought the stability. Today, the very definition of family and marriage has been completely eroded. Have you ever watched the show Modern Family? You watch the show Modern Family? All right. So Modern Family now is a television show that deliberately tries to portray different types of families and marriages. They introduce the same-sex union as something that is equal. So man and man can be married, woman and women can be married. They're blended families now where the wife or the husband, they were once divorced in their previous union, they had children, they bring them together and so on, and all sort of madness. And they start to push these narratives, these agendas, as if, that's what's culturally accepted right now. But against these cultural narratives, the Bible never presents marriage as something purely for economic stability, personal fulfillment, financial gain, or social construct. But that's the agenda that they push. You should get married to this person because they can elevate your status. They can give you the dream that you always wanted. Right? The Bible, so you enter marriage in a self-centered way. In other words, like a business. How does this marriage serve me? Not what, and that's why you hear men, they're asking, what do you bring to the table? Besides intimacy, what do you bring to the table? That's what they're asking men. And I think it's a stupid question to ask. But it's a very stupid and emasculating question to ask, to be frank. Because men should not be asking such a question. What do you bring to the table? The table should already be prepared and set. You don't ask what she brings to the table. Right? You shouldn't have to ask her that. What she brings. And anybody who's dating and a man ask you that question, run him. He's not ready. Right, Brother Wayne? You disagree with me? We'll run you too. We'll run you too, Wayne. Oh, we get in there. No, okay, we're getting there. I get what I'm saying. And they don't understand what is required. Never mind, we're getting there. You're 10 steps ahead of the sermon, Brother Wayne. As an expert in marriage, Brother Wayne, 10 steps ahead. The Bible, which introduces marriage, and I can tell you, the world tries to flood our minds with a narrative about marriage that the Bible never presents. And we accept it, and we don't realize it. And that is why, like you said, Hollywood, that is why people become so dissatisfied with their marriage. That's why people become so dissatisfied with their marriage. Because the world is flooding our minds with a narrative that if the man not make you happy or the woman not make you happy, divorce him. Get married to somebody else who will make you happy. That's the narrative. And if you feel like you're unhappy in the marriage, you need to make a choice to leave the marriage. The person, as I said, should elevate you. The person should treat you like a princess. You know, the fairy tale romantic kind of marriage, happily ever after? Yes. That's what they try to flood our minds with. And so now when you get married, the first thing on your mind, and think about it, because you don't spend all sorts of money. The world causes us to spend a lot of money on the wedding. And we're not prepared for the marriage. We're not prepared for the marriage. And they take the marriage outside of the wedding, outside the church, and them gonna beach, and them gonna park, and them have this, big gigantic billboards and so on, of somehow declaring my love for the person. And when you check it, it wasn't real. It's not real love, it's a show. But you see, we like to see things. We like the appearance of things, just like Eve when she saw the fruit. It was pleasing to the eyes. She don't know what it contains or what will happen. But it was pleasing to the eyes and good for food. And she took it. And that's how the world sort of dangles marriage before our eyes. That it's an institution filled with love and romance. Yes, you should be married. No. We're getting there, man. We're getting there. So it's not that it doesn't happen in marriage. If your marriage is boring, you're in trouble. Not saying your marriage should lack romance. Not saying your marriage should lack love. But if you go into the marriage with that at the forefront of your mind, that I'm going to have movie nights and date nights, I'm going to go out very frequently, and he's going to spend money on me, and I'm going to do my hair, and then when I get pregnant, my husband is going to lift every weight for me, and he's always going to be there, and he's going to ensure that I have a helper, right, Sister Dolores? The topic today is real love, real life. Real love, real life. So, that's the fairy tale marriage that we accept. The fairy tale marriage. That this man or this woman is going to do everything so perfectly. And I'm just going to enjoy happily ever after. And you get the shocker of your life. That it's not like that. No, it's not like that. It's somebody who's very annoying and has poor hygiene. Yeah. Yeah. And you have to tell them that, baby, before you talk to me in the morning, brush your teeth, please. You have to tell them that. Or when you come in from work, you know you work underneath the car all day. You need to go bathe before you greet me. You know, it kind of irks you. You're wondering, is this the same person that I got married to? If the hygiene going to change when you get married? No, man, you don't understand, man. Listen, understand this. You need to understand. You weren't living with the person before. So you didn't know that they had bad hygiene or poor. So every time they come around you for date, then spray up. You understand? Them spray up. Them put on them best. That's why I said. Them put on them best. And you realize now you get married to the person, you have to tell them and remind them that they need to go bathe. Because 2-3 days pass and them no shower. And them don't see it as a problem. All right. These are real scenarios, you know, brethren. I tell you the truth. It's funny and it's laughable, you know, but it's a real scenario. You have people. One of the realities that, for example, my wife is one who, when she's normally the last one to get up. And when she gets up, she ensures that she spread the bed. Me never grow so. No. Sometimes, so I would spread the bed, but it wasn't something that I felt like I needed to do. And so sometimes, you know, when I'm getting ready for school, my earliest memory, I would leave the bed unspread. I mean, the room fairly tidy. It's just so hear me out. If I go to the bed and I lift up the top sheet, and I sleep underneath the top sheet, and I sleep like this for the whole time, and I don't roll a lot, I get up in the morning, and I just flick it over. And everything else, the floor clean, you know, the dresser is tidy. I don't have clothes on the floor or anything. It's a pretty clean room. You know, if the bed is not spread, doesn't make the room untidy, you know. But marriage is about learning and adapting, which is what we need to do. One of the tools that I'll give you. We need to learn and adapt. So even though, yes, me the man of the yard and thing, right? Right? I recognize that, you know, if I don't spread the bed, if I'm the last to come out and I don't spread the bed, she might be a little bit annoyed about it. Not necessarily annoyed to the extent that, boy, you couldn't get up and spread the bed, you couldn't No, it's not nothing like that. But out of love, out of adaptation, and out of recognizing that I'm sharing a space with somebody, my wife, we conform. Just as an example. But I said so much. I want to go back to the tools. That marriage is not the fairy tale type of relationship that Hollywood tries to sell us. Marriage, when you enter marriage, the Bible presents marriage as a covenant. A covenant. And why that is very important to accept is because there are times in a contractual arrangement or covenant agreement where you won't necessarily feel happy all the time. You won't feel fulfilled or satisfied all the time. And it doesn't mean that because you're having this feeling, because you're not feeling the butterflies in your stomach or the emotional highs of love and so on, means that you should bail out of the marriage. No. Because when you take, for example, when God establishes his covenant with Abraham, do you think it was all fine and hunky-dory all throughout the relationship while Abraham was alive? It wasn't. It was rough. When Abraham was waiting for how long to get the promise of offspring, do you think he was in a particularly happy mood? And he's getting older, he's wondering if this God is going to come through. Do you think Abraham, when God asked him in Genesis 12 to leave his family and his relatives behind and go to a place where you don't know, with strangers in the land and people you've never seen before, aliens, do you think he was particularly happy about doing that? Now tell me, and be honest, 100%. If he prioritized his happiness in this covenant relationship with God, wouldn't he have left the covenant already? It would have gone already, right? We don't understand how, you see this waiting period, the waiting process. You're waiting for somebody to deliver on them promise or to change them behavior and so on. We're quick for jump ship because we're not seeing the results that we wanted or the results that were promised. Very quick to jump ship. But if you understood that marriage is a covenant, Brother Wayne, is a covenant. And it's not primarily necessarily for my happiness. You should be happy. But there are seasons, and we need to make a distinction between when someone's character is like a particular way, or they're just going through a season, or they're just going through a rough period. Because people can be going through things. They have invisible battles that you don't know. And even the very person that lie down beside you every single night are fighting battles you're not aware of. You understand? They're fighting battles you're not aware of. Huh? Yeah, you're one. Yeah. But sometimes, you see, based on how, you see, as a married man, Brother Clark, as a married man, who said that? No, because you're interacting with me. So, oh, no. As a married man, you realize that sometimes we get to the place where you can't express certain things immediately. And it's for the protection of your partner as well. So, for example, I've seen it. A man loses his job. He loses the economic status or stability that he brought to the marriage. He might be a little afraid to go and tell his wife. He might wait until, or let's say it's not a job, but it's a contract, a very important contract, an investment. And he's waiting until he recovers before he brings it to her because he knows his wife. And his wife is one that will panic. And when she panics, he panics. So in order to avoid all of that, he will keep it to himself for a while, try to figure it out, solve the issue, and then he can express it. But that knowledge happens when you know the person, when you know the individual, right? And we're going to get to it. All right. Let's talk about marriage from the biblical perspective, Brother Wayne. Because I know that's what you're waiting for. Right? All right. Genesis 2:18. Genesis chapter 2:18 says, the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a suitable helper for him. And in Genesis, same chapter 22 to 24, it says, the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to him. And the man said, no, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Now we have a little play on word where we say it's a man with a womb. Don't say that. Don't say it. Don't, because that's what the trans people are doing. Okay. Man with a womb. Let's not say that in church. Okay. No, man. It's not no man with a womb. It's a woman. It's a woman with a womb. Not a man. Not a man. All right. So, he brought the woman, her to the man, and he called her woman. And it says in verse 24, that is why a man leaves his father and his mother and joins to his wife. And the two become one flesh. It's the first thing that was declared, Brother Wayne, not good, from the beginning of God's creation, is that man was alone. And oftentimes we think about this particular scripture and think that he was lonely. He was emotionally alone and he needed a partner. And we get this image of Adam sitting down watching the horses and the donkeys and the lion, and so they're mating and them enjoying themselves, and there's no one for him. Wayne, man. Wayne, man. I'm going to tell you, Bridget, I'm going to tell you. You see, I want to introduce to you and remind all of us what this marriage thing is about. Because if you run into marriage based on feelings and emotions and so on, you're already on the wrong footing. And that's what I want every one of us to get. Marriage is not an emotional institution. It's an institution that brings emotions, but it's not primarily an emotional institution. So the man was alone. Why was he alone? Why? How long was he alone for? You don't know. You don't know. But he was alone. And maybe, and this is speculation, allow me, come with me, we'll speculate. Maybe it's a case where God made Adam, allowed him to see, yes, the animals and so on. They have their kinds and so on. Right? No, he gave him work. Yeah, we'll still get to that. He gave him work. And remember the mandate, Pastor, is to be fruitful and multiply. Maybe he was around seeing the animals being fruitful and multiplying. And that is what he realized I can't do alone. So it's not that he was looking for a mate among the animals. No. You know, some people believe that? Really? Yeah, man. There are people who believe that he probably experimented with some animals. Madness. But it's not a case where he was looking at all the animals coupling up and gone on date nights and he was there by himself. It's not, that wasn't the case. Adam might have realized that a mandate was given in Genesis 1:28, be fruitful and multiply. And he was not fruitful or multiplying. He couldn't by himself. And so God said it's not good for man to be alone. So he made a helper for him. That was so that they could fulfill his mandate. Why? Why, Brother Wayne? All right, Wayne. All right. We talk to you, Wayne. To be fruitful and multiply. But that's what I'm saying. But that's what no, it's not an afterthought, Brother Wayne. It's not an afterthought. God wanted him to realize that the mandate that was given in Genesis 1:28, he was not able to fulfill alone. It could be, it's not a case where I'm saying the woman was not being thought of by God. And it's, oh, let me just give him a woman so that he can. No, it's not that. But the man could have come to the realization that I can't do this alone. And then God said, ha ha! Once you have that realization, now you're ready. Now you are ready. And so he gives him the woman. Because God's priority with marriage is partnership. His priority in marriage is partnership, it's covenantal, it's working together to achieve a purpose that God himself wanted. It's not for you, Sister Millicent. It's not for you, Brother Wayne. You can make up your face all you want. You can make up your face all you want. But it's not for you. Your marriage serves a higher purpose than your happiness, than love. It serves a God-given purpose. Which is why when the two come together and they become one, let no man separate that oneness. Because they were joined together to fulfill a God-given mandate, a mission that they could not do alone. So that's the point I'm getting, Brother Wayne. You can go, hold on. I know you'll have a lot to say afterwards. Yeah, man, no problem. But but don't leave though, because you have a habit. You have a habit to just tune out the rest of the message, you know, and hold on to one point and then come to me afterwards and say, boy, you just really. No, man, listen to the whole thing. Listen to the whole thing, Brother Wayne. All right. So, the passage, man, it's not good for man to be alone. It's particularly profound because one, like Sister Millicent said, he had meaningful work to do. So that's a purpose. He was operating in a perfect environment. He had direct fellowship with God. Right? Direct fellowship. And he lacked nothing. All food, all trees I give you to eat. Food for your sustenance and so on. But something was missing. And he wasn't, like I said, lonely in the emotional sense, but was a purpose. He was alone. And recognizing this aloneness, he could not fulfill the mandate that God had for him. Brethren, this partnership is until death do us part. Let's call a spade a spade. It's until death do us part. And unfortunately, when we're young and immature and foolish, we ran into relationship, got married probably too early, and, you know, things may not be going as you had hoped or expected. But it's a marriage. It's a marriage. And Jesus said, Moses permitted divorce. But in the beginning, it was not so. In the beginning, it was not so. And Moses, through God's command, also permitted multiple wives. Guess what? In the beginning, it was not so. So men can make all the justifications they want for multiple wives. No, not women. Women were not allowed to have multiple husbands. Let's just dismantle that thought. Was never, right? But not in the Bible. Not in the Bible for sure. But we recognize that, and I just gave it from the 1900s, and we see how many changes marriage and family underwent. From the Bible, we've been changing the institution since creation. And they introduced multiple wives. It was in what? Can't remember, Genesis 4 perhaps, with Lamech. I think it's 4, Lamech. First man with 2 wives. It was not so in the beginning. Yes, there were laws that were permitted to say, all right, if you're going to take a second wife, you don't deny the first wife or provisions and so on. But it was not so in the beginning. Let's call a spade a spade. It was not so in the beginning. Now, let me give you some practical tools as I sort of come to a close now. Practical tools. Brother Wayne, listen. Please listen, Brother Wayne. Please. All right. Now, it's not in any particular order, but I do believe that once you have these in your marriage, you should be on your way to having a healthy, successful relationship. First thing, it's a tool of friendship. It's a tool of friendship. You know, when the overwhelming feeling of love subsides or it plateaus, it really boils down to if you are genuine friends or not. Genuine friends. Because when the romance is not there, when the lovey feeling is not there, and a very real question you can ask yourself, you know, to test this scenario. If I was not married to my wife or my husband, would I be friends with that person? Answer that in your minds. Don't answer it all out. Please, I don't want any problems today. Please. But if I was not married to my wife or my husband, would I be friends with that person? Think about it. A lot of you are probably thinking, no way. No, think it. Just think it. I'm not asking you to say it. I'm not asking you to say it. But, and that's a problem. You see, there's so many dynamics. And by the way, I should have said the disclaimer. Everybody's relationship is different. They have different challenges, different dynamics, different backgrounds, and so on. And it's nothing I can say in a couple of hours to kind of give you everything that you need. You know, one thing I will say though, you have the information to make your marriage better. You have the ability and the skill also to make your marriage better, happier, healthier. We have it. Information at our fingertips and everything. You don't need to sit in any presentation to learn what to do. Anytime you're bored, you can take up your phone, you can Google. You're not the only one going through the problem that you're going through. And there are people on Reddit or other internet forums that can say, yes, I experienced this and this is how I handle it and so on. You don't need me to tell you. But nonetheless, here we are. Because let's be real. Some marriages are just not operating as optimally as they can. I'm not going to say that, you know, they're struggling or call on anybody. But they're not operating as optimally as they could. And one of the things is that we are not friends with our partners. And as simple and, you know, probably cliche as it sounds, we're just not friends. And you see, it's very easy to not be friends with your partner because the moment I set my eyes on you, it was, from that beginning, it was always a romantic feeling, connection. I wanted to be with this person. Not necessarily I wanted to experience a friendship with the person. And not many marriages began with friendship. Where, you know when you ever spending time with your friend and just time is just flying, like you don't realize where time has gone. You're gone out. Maybe you're gone to a sports bar. You're watching the sports World Cup going on now. You're gone out with friends. You're playing games and card games, and time is just going, but you're not realizing that. But the moment you go home from work to spend time with your wife or your husband, it seems like a chore. Why? Because you're not friends. You don't care about how my day went. You don't care about what happened to me at work. You don't care. You genuinely don't care. For you, I am just a means to an end. And it's harsh. But and it may not necessarily even be true that your marriage is this, but that's how it's coming across. I am just a means to an end. I am really just here because we have bills to pay. We have kids to send to school. We have clothes to buy and stuff like that. You understand? It's a means to an end. You don't genuinely check for me. You're not interested in the things that I'm interested in. And if I even express to you that, hey, I'm interested in sports, let's sit and watch sports together. Boring. Yeah. Boring. You're not interested in the things that I'm interested in. Or you tell me that you want to go painting, for example. I'm really not painting. Sit and paint. I'm not so artistic. No, it's just scenarios. I'm just making up scenarios. Not that it's me, but I'm just saying, friends do things together. Them spend time together. My interest become your interest become my interest. You know, one of the couples I admire in this church, I admire a lot of couples, by the way, but I speak to this one because it's fresh in my mind. It's the Campbells. The Campbells do a little thing every Friday mountain where he would do some like fish fry. Fish fry. And every time I go down to collect my food, wife is there beside him. She's the one collecting the money. He's handing over the food. Oh, that's right? But you have some marriages now. You have some marriages where the woman send the man for you. That are your business, you know. I don't really care about that too much. Right? They are doing things together. And we can appreciate that. The couples, if you want to stay married longer, you have to do things together. And getting the children ready for school in the morning is not doing things together. All right, it is, but to the extent that it gives off the, this feeling of appreciation and closeness, it doesn't give that. But then good, that's a very good point. So Sister Eulalie says, do everything together. And that's a good point. Because even though it might be, a chore to get the children ready, get myself ready, and to go to work and stuff, when you're doing it together, and you realize, Sister Eulalie, that you can be doing these things together but still disconnected. No, fair. So it's somewhere to start. Because you could be doing these things but still disconnected. And I don't know, you can probably share your experiences after the sermon. When you were getting ready for school in the morning or getting your children ready for school, do you feel connected with your spouse? Did you feel connected to your partner? Or do you feel like, well, I'm just rushing to get... Is that chore? Yeah, you're just rushing to get them out of school so that they can so on, right? No, not talking about help. Not talking about help just yet. It's spending quality time together, right? So here's the thing. My wife may be in the kitchen cooking. I'm going to really do the cooking thing. Every now and then I might surprise her. But cooking is her thing. Did you know that sometimes if you're just in the kitchen with your partner, it makes a world of a difference? Did you know that? It makes a world of a difference when you're just there. But sometimes what happens is you have the man outside in the living room, watch football, and you have the wife in there, and she's cooking, she's washing up, and it's agitating. And I learned that from my mom. When she's agitated, we know. She makes it like the cupboards are a little bit louder. Cupboards are a little bit louder, right? And she would storm into the room and unplug the fans and open the windows. And you'd hear she say, "I'm me alone, I don't want to do everything." To that extent. But you see what I mean, that you can learn from observation? Because if I am in a situation where I'm relaxed and I see my wife get up to do something in the kitchen, not 100% of the time, but most time, especially I read her facial expression and the mood that she's in. And if she's in the kitchen cooking and she's kind of down and I'm relaxed, I get up and I go in the kitchen, I pull out the stool and I sit down and I start having a conversation with her. It makes a world of a difference. As simple as it sounds, it makes a world of a difference. It's moral support. You see, Brother Wayne, you see him now listening now. Brother Wayne don't like these type of messages because you see it's not hardcore and And you know, funny enough, it's the simple things in marriage that are not being done that's causing the problem. It's the simple things that we often overlook that's causing the marital drifting that's happening. When you genuinely, I talk about friendship, when you genuinely care for your partner as you care for a friend, some of us, men, will move mountains for our friends. Mountains for your brethren. Your brethren call you one Sunday and say, listen, I need you to paint some wall for me and, I'm going to provide some drinks and so on. And we're ready, we're gone. Gone move mountains for our brethren. But make your wife just say, baby, sit in the kitchen and just have a conversation with me while I cook and clean and so on. It's a problem. It's a problem. So that's what I'm saying. It's the simple things. And then sometimes now, so if I see her, my wife, she's generally clean. So while she's cooking, she's washing up the plate, she's making sure the counter is not messy. So if I see that happening, I'll go in and say, no, baby, focus on the food, I'll wash up. Because I'm not going to touch the food, but I'll wash up. I'll make sure, And I say, you want me to pass you anything? You want me to get anything for you? You can ask her. That's the kind of man that I am. If she's, we live in an apartment complex, and the washing machine is downstairs. She's not going to ask me. You see, if we wait 3 weeks, for example, to wash, and the clothes pile up like this, my wife will take the clothes and she'll walk downstairs. And I say, baby, don't do that. Call me, please. If I'm in a meeting, call me. I rather to carry the load. Sometimes she doesn't want to bother me. But I say, call me, because I can't imagine having to carry that burden down the stairs and up the stairs. And she does it without complaining. But I recognize, even though she doesn't complain, her energy drops. Her energy drops. Like, I can't believe I just washed 3 weeks worth of clothes by myself. Her energy falls. And so when that happens, because, if I'm working and I can't do the back and forth and she does it, I have to make up to it. I have to make up for it. So you need a back rub, you need a foot rub, you need a massage, anything, and it's just for her. What do you want me to do? You want me to get some food for you? Show that you actually care for the person, the individual. And fact of the matter is, we're just not friends. Brother Wayne, we're not friends in our relationship, and that's causing a problem. So, tool number 1, be friends. Be genuine friends. When your wife says that, the simple task, just get it done. Because we know, if your virgin call, you're gone. We know. Depending on the type of relationship you have with your friend, but if your virgin call, you're gone, man. Just allow your wife the same courtesy. Or even more, she should be number 1 friend on your list, your friend list. Do things together. The next tool that I'll give you is a tool of communication. Again, this is something that you know already, right? But how do we often get communication so wrong? Because you feel like when I say, for example, you can't wash up the dishes. Every day I come home, the dishes them don't wash up. It's communicating versus, babe, can you wash up the dishes for me? I won't be able to do it because X, Y, Z, whatever. Why can't we get communication right? And it won't be right 100% of the time, because guess what? Sometimes you're just flustered or frustrated, and we're not going to deny that. You're a human being, you're going to be flustered sometimes, you're going to be frustrated. You know what I respect and appreciate? Someone who recognizes that they're in that mood and say, honey, I can't talk to you now because I'm so mad. And if I talk to him, I'm going to say something where you're going to regret. Even to say that, basic, we're failing at doing. I've been in moods where, listen, if I say something, you're going to be in a bad mood. And the two of we can't be in a bad mood. So me rather for be in a bad mood while you're in a not so bad mood, right? You care for the person. You communicate. You see my wife, when I just met her, I used to think she's very sensitive. The littlest of things I criticize her about, she she said, don't say that. Don't say that. That's how she is. Or if I look at her away, like, if she does something and I'm like, why you do that? Baby, why are you talking to me like that? That's how she is. So I recognize that there's a barrier that she puts up. Whenever I look at her a particular way, whenever I gesticulate a particular way, when my tone is raised or something, you understand that. And because you don't want to cause an offense, you kind of tailor your tone, you tailor your body language and so on, so that you don't put both of you in a bad mood. Communication to me it's a no-brainer. And again, I'm not saying that you'll get it 100% correct all the time because of the feelings and emotions and so on. But for goodness sake, at least have some awareness. At least have some awareness. And husbands, Brother Wayne, you see? I'm picking on you. Sorry, Brother Wayne. Sorry, brother. But you know something? Sometimes we play ignorant because we can't bother with the argument. So Brother Wayne now probably see his wife and her face look downcasted and she probably look upset. And him know him do something, But he must say, maybe I not it, maybe it's not that is causing her to look that way. But I don't really want to find out either, so I'm going to just give her some space. I give her some space and then hopefully she kind of tone down and then I can approach her. Communication is also facial expression, body language. And even when we're talking about something that you might be very, passionate about, you might be very passionate about it, you have to understand the person in order to communicate to them. Because the way, Philly, you can communicate to me, and I can communicate to you. You probably can't communicate that the same way to your wife. You have to tailor your communication based on the individuals that you're talking to or communicating with. James 1:19 says, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak. Quick to listen and slow to speak. And anyone who has done some kind of marital counseling can tell you that there's always two sides to the story, yes? But somehow when they're communicating to each other, the communication is going all over the place. They're not understanding each other. But the moment they sit before a counselor, the counselor is so trained that the counselor can say, oh, I understand what you're saying. Oh, I understand what you're saying. Then how comes the two who can't understand? How comes two who can't understand? I mean, it makes perfect sense to me what she's saying, and it makes perfect sense to me what he's saying. Why don't you guys get each other? That's so weird. Because you have a communication problem. And oftentimes we communicate with, we listen to respond rather than to understand. Here's a fact. You see, when somebody's expressing to you how they feel, for goodness sake, Brother Wayne, it's their feelings. It's their feelings, Brother Wayne. So if I tell you, say, Wayne, you hurt me. What you said bothered me. Don't tell me, say, I shouldn't be bothered. Don't tell me that, boy, you never mean it and how me so thin skin. No, I feel a way, Brother Wayne. Let's deal with that. Why do I feel a way? You understand? It's don't just brush off somebody's feeling, no matter how ridiculous it might seem. Even if it's the woman come up with it or the man. Lord, you're sensitive, Lord, man. Lord, man. Everything we do a problem, Lord. The person genuinely feels that way. And they might express to you now, making themselves vulnerable. And expressing to you that, I really feel hurt. Man, you're a girl. You're a girl, man. Everything. Right, Sister Millie? No. No. No, yes. No, man, I am balanced. No, Brother Wayne, man. The tools, no, Brother Wayne, I am balanced. Brother Wayne, the tools that I'm giving, they're unisex tools. They operate for both men and women. And you have some men who are the chefs in their house, you know. I'm not one of them. My wife not blessed like that. But you have some men, them in the kitchen. And sometimes the women have to support the men as well. You know, if you spend time, get to know the things that they like and so on. But don't you ever think that communication is just what comes out of your mouth. Communication is everything. The body language, the non-verbal cues. Pay attention to them. It works for both the men and the women. So I come to your brother Wayne. I give you communication and I give you friendship. Make sure you have these, you know. And again, every marriage is different, but you will stand to benefit if you implement some of these tools. Tools of service is the next one. Tools of service. When you get married to someone, you should be serving them. You should be serving each other. It's not a case where service is one way, where the man is getting or the woman is just getting, the man is getting. You know, ask yourself, in your marriage, ask yourself this. How can I make your burdens lighter? Have you ever asked that question? And it makes a world of a difference, you know, because don't just assume. Because a lot of persons assume that because I am showing up, because I am going to work, and I am bringing in the money and so on, you should just automatically just accept it as my service. When the woman or the man is not asking you to show up in that way, I'm asking you to show up in a way that matters. Brother Wayne, oxygen is something that we don't think about all the time. But make somebody stop your breath. That's all you're thinking about. So if you're going to work, or wife is going to work and so on, and they're providing, the wife going to the supermarket and she's ensuring that food is constantly in the house, you won't necessarily see that as a problem. But make food stop coming in the house. And you realize, baby, what's happening? You're used to this, now you're not doing this. Why? And now you start complaining about that. But I am challenging couples, marriage couples, to do acts of service to each other. How can I lighten your burdens? How can I make your burdens lighter? How can I take on some of your load? And it's hard sometimes because you yourself might be carrying some burden, right? You're carrying load as well. But you can't look at it as I'm over here carrying this and you're over there carrying that. It should be some amount of juggling. You're supposed to be better off together. Your burdens should be lighter together. You work together to make your burdens light. And guess what? You know, we always like to talk about roles, man role and woman role in relationship and so on. And man behave as if them can't wash clothes. And they must only wash their clothes. No. Those days are over, you know. No, man, those days are over. You know, Jason have a thing. I'm call up Jason's name now. You see, Jason have a thing, you know. And him say it jokingly sometimes, I feel like him believe it, you know, under the quiet. So he will say, Kim, for example, I think she'll have to come home from work and sometimes have to head in the kitchen while he's at home whole day by himself. So him there home, you know. But instead of preparing a meal for his wife to come home and enjoy from work, he makes she come home and cook. Sometimes, because I know sometimes you guys go on the road and so on. So I know you start out business. But Jason say, I can't work so hard, man, I stand up in a kitchen cooking. I can't work so hard, I stand up in a kitchen cooking. Him say it. He will say it. Right? And somehow that works with your relationship. It doesn't work for everybody, so don't you try that. If you know it's not working for you so far, don't implement it. It works for him. But ideally, you want to make your partner's burden light. And so sometimes, I'll be at home and wife is at work, and when she comes home, everything is in order, right? I may not cook, or I would cook sometimes, but I want at least when she comes home and she's tired, she can go in the room and sleep. So go back to the spread bed story. So at least when she comes home, the bed is spread, the room clean and everything. Right? Yeah, man. I make sure that happens. Tools of service. How can I lighten your burdens? Tools of commitment. Right, Sister Millie? Commitment. We need commitment in our marriages. We need, when the road gets rough or rocky, despite whatever challenges, the couples are going to remain committed to each other. You're not going to entertain a third party or get others involved because they understand that marriage is holy and it's sanctified. Nobody should come between you and your wife, or the wife and her husband. Nobody. Nobody. No daddy, no mommy, no friend, nobody should come before you and your wife. You are totally, undeniably committed to each other, no matter how bad things get. Remember that marriage is a covenant. Stop talking about escape routes. Entertaining escape routes. Like we had a lively discussion in the Palm group the other day. And, persons were there saying, boy, what if the woman is getting battered, bruised, and beaten, and, she should definitely try to... No. I am not telling anybody to stay in any abusive relationship. None. But let's be clear. If you enter marriage with that mentality, why get married? If you enter marriage with a plan B, an escape route, just in case things get bad, gone, don't bother get married. Stay alone. Stay alone and serve God. As a matter of fact, 1 Corinthians 7 tells you, Paul says, not a command of his, but him said, boy, if he had his way, all of us would not be married. All of us wouldn't be married. If you're entertaining escape routes already, don't enter marriage. Marriage is a lifelong commitment, a covenant that is only broken when someone dies. And I'm wrapping up. Last thing I want to add. And then I'm going to read something to your wife. You can make your way down for me. Last thing. Tool of prayer. Tool of prayer. Listen. Prayer recognizes that there's someone bigger than us, than the both of us. Yeah? A source bigger than us. And when you put your wife or your husband before God, when you communicate to the person, how you have been feeling and so on, and you bring it before God, it's like a weight just falls off your shoulders. You don't necessarily have to fight your battles, And guess what? Sometimes if you even don't have a praying spouse, a praying husband, pray make them hear. Yeah, man. Pray that my wife is more loving and affectionate. Really? Yeah. And make she hear. If she don't even want to hold my hand and pray. Right, Brother Wayne? She don't want to hold my hand and pray together. Let me pray out loud so she can at least hear. Because I can't tell her. Because she's going to, but let me tell God. Maybe she will listen to him. Yeah, man. Prayer make them hear. If they don't want to pray with you, pray out loud. Right? Bring them before God. Men, initiate prayer more often. Men. Men, yeah, initiate prayer more often. And if if it's a case where you're fighting a battle that you feel like you yourself can overcome, initiate the prayer, man. Don't leave it to the woman. Prayer is not a woman thing, it's not a gender thing. Prayer is direct communication to God. And sometimes and it gives your wife ease to, because remember, you are your wife's covering, you're a shelter, you're a provider. There's God, there's you, and then your wife. And God gave you responsibility for that woman. No matter what she is or how she stays, God gives you responsibility for that woman. And I've said it before. The nature of the relationship is going to fall largely on the men. People don't like hearing that, But you see, people don't like it, and I'm going to say this. He said, no, I preach. Brother Wayne, Brother Wayne, you're very impatient. That's your problem. You don't like the slow build up. You want people to just get to the point. But that's okay. Men, you are your wife's covering. Nobody can instruct your wife to do anything without your permission. You are her strength. And that's why I want to read this poem to you now. So you can, wife, you can come. You can kind of get the essence. Oh, Mike? Come stand up beside me. Yeah. Either one works. Give her a little volume. Her voice is. Yeah. So a little introduction. So it's sort of an inspirational reading, right? A poem about a couple who is going through some hardships, but they still love each other, right? And you're gonna get the essence of it, and then we can discuss briefly, and then I'll wrap up. Do I have your permission, Pastors? I can go ahead? All right.
Daughters of Zion, hear my lament. Hear me better?
No? Testing. She needs to be as loud as I am.
Hello.
Her voice is very soft. Very.
Daughters of Zion, hear my lament. For I am as one who kept the vineyard, yet my own vine I did not tend. My beloved came to me in gentleness. His voice like oil poured upon the stones. Yet I answered him with thorns. I withheld the honor due to his name, and my lips, though near, gave him no rest. He stood at the gate of my heart and knocked, but I lingered in pride and turned away. He sought assurance, yet I gave him silence. He reached for my hand, yet I withdrew my strength. Now he has gone from me. My beloved has departed to a far country, and his words like arrows remain within me. Sharp was his parting, bitter his farewell, and my soul trembles at the echo of them. Yet this I confess before the watchful heavens. I looked for him to strive for me still, to war against my weakness, to cover my shame with his steadfast love. Was he not the keeper of my gates? Was he not the shield around my dwelling? I said in my heart, he will not leave though I falter. He will not turn though I wander. But behold, I am uncovered. The winds have found me in my nakedness, and the night stretches long without his presence. The streets are strange, and I walk without the comfort of his shadow. O daughters, do not awaken love lightly, nor take for granted the strength of its arms. For I, who was once sheltered, now stand beneath an open sky. If you find my beloved, Tell him this. Though I wounded him with careless hands, my soul yet longs for his returning. Let him remember the covenant we shared and the fire that once burned between us. Let him not cast me off as one forgotten, but contend for the love that we have lost. For though I failed in my devotion, my heart still knows his name.
Daughters of Zion, bear witness to me. For my heart has walked through fire and come out bearing scars unseen. I found her as a lily among thorns, fair in her beginning, tender in her ways. My soul delighted in her presence. I called her my own. I covered her with the strength of my arm. I built walls about her dwelling. I stood as a watchman in the night while she rested in the safety of my name. Yet she withheld from me the honor of a king, and her words fell lightly upon my labor. I sought her comfort, but found distance. I reached for her heart, but it turned aside. Many nights I knocked upon her door, saying, "Open to me, my love, my dove." But she lingered in her own counsel, and I stood alone beneath the fading light. My spirit grew weary within me, for love is strong, yet it is not without need. Even the steadfast grow faint when their offering is met with silence. When I departed, my words were as arrows, not because I wanted to wound, but because my wounds had long gone unseen. She says, "Why did you not fight for me?" But I fought in the secret places. I contended in the quiet hours. I bore the weight she did not see. Shall a man pour himself out without end and not be gathered in return? Shall he stand forever at a closed gate and still be called absent when he departs? I was her covering, yet I too needed shelter. I was her strength, and yet I too needed rest. For I am not like the Most High, that I should not grow weary. Yet hear this, O daughters. My love for her has not vanished like the mist. It lingers as embers beneath the ash, waiting yet uncertain of the flame. If she calls for me, let it be in truth. If she seeks me, let it be with humility. For love cannot live where honor is withheld, nor can covenant stand where one stands alone. But still, I remember her, the beginning, the promise, the fire. And though I have stepped beyond the gate, my heart has not forgotten the house that we built. Thank you. And so, from that poem, what was your biggest takeaway? What seemed to have happened? Missing application of the two roles? Tools. Oh, the tools. Application of the tools. Yes? Sorry. Let's just 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. Sister Eulalie.
I gather that both persons had needs that were probably not communicated.
That's correct. Or unmet needs. Anybody else? So, missing application of the tools. Shanice?
Yes, just to kind of add to what Sister Yoli said, them unmet needs, and it seems the woman, she would have had wounds but he also had wounds, and they were not instead of trying to heal each other, both of their wounds started to wound each other. So
Yeah.
it was like a trauma situation.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just the story that we have. There's clearly more to the story because we saw the instance where he was reaching out to her, but she withheld her arm. And a lot of time, this one is for the men, a lot of time, you see, after a woman keeps talking and talking about the same thing and not seeing the change, the outcome, after a while, she gets distance. And you see, when she gets distance, at the moment that you pick up and you start to put things in place to try and reconnect, it's often too late. And that's very unfortunate. It's often too late because the woman is now emotionally distancing herself from you. And so the effort of you extending your arms to her no longer carries any weight. And I've seen it happen, real life. Where, the same goes for the men. So it may be a case where the woman was hurt from talking about this thing that was bothering her. The man, because nothing is urgent and or a priority, we don't move to address the situation. And so the woman now starts to distance herself emotionally. And so she seems like the evil person or the wicked person now because Brother Wayne is extending his reach to her, but she's not appreciating or accepting because in her mind, you're just doing this now because you're seeing how I'm behaving. But the moment I give in to you and allow myself to be vulnerable again, is the moment you're going to take for granted and go back to the same thing. And so women, there's a saying that says, women leave a relationship while they're in the relationship. But men often leave the relationship long after the relationship is gone. Because we don't act on these things quickly. Last one.
Okay, this is not theory. I was teaching about 20 odd years ago.
We don't have 20 years though,
No, just listen.
All right.
And the course was not about marriage. It was a tiny part called family. The course was really general and communication studies. So there were adults, all adults, evening class. I said to the class, go back to the purpose of marriage. So the Lord said, I'll make him and help mate suitable for him. So I said to the class, you wives are to learn to wash and cook and clean and take care of husband and listen. And the ladies were in uproar. This is not theory. The one beautiful, I remember she was a tall, beautiful girl, said, if I ever come home and see him sit on veranda, I read cleaner, and he come home before me, I would just take one cleaner book and sit down beside him and read too, because he's supposed to go put on thing. This is something I'm saying about 20 years now. I said to a woman in a taxi.
Wait, is this a new story?
Let's just listen from Slagoville.
I don't have the time. I'm sorry. I have to wrap up here.
I said, what do you attribute your marriage lasting so long?
Okay.
This is not theory. This is practical thing. She said to me, my mother said to me long ago, say your husband a fire and you are water. Anytime you start blaze up push on, you must be water to put him out.
Good. That's a very good point.
You know?
That's an excellent point.
So
we'll end on that note.
Okay,
But he's making a very good point, though. Two flame. No. I don't have the time.
No, just the last thing.
I don't have the time. Understood. So he's right. He's absolutely right. We're out of time, but he's absolutely right. And oftentimes people fight fire with fire. And you end up getting a bigger flame that's destructive and it causes a lot of damage, right? But the essence of the message here, the essence of the message today is that marriage is a covenant. It's a covenant, and once you go into marriage with that understanding, I think you have the proper foundation to establish healthy marriages with the tools that I've given you. You have to be friends. You have to communicate. You have to have prayer in your marriage, right? All of these tools, once you implement them, you can have a very successful and healthy marriage. And remember, as we always say, peace and love in your marriage. God bless you.